Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for joining on our second weekly call. So in this call, what I wanted to go over was how to make sure that there's absolutely zero leads that are slipping through the pipeline for you guys. And then how you do that is by, so we made a quick change in last week is, so simple change, we swapped the position of open leads with leads communication. So then this top row that you have is the one that you need to make sure that everything in this is zero for you to make sure that every single lead that you have is addressed. So you don't have any leads where it might be slipping through the crack, or you might have forgotten about it. So this is the every day that you come in, whether it's you as the owner of the business or it's somebody on your team that's working for you as acquisition disposition manager, I would have them look at this first row to always make sure that everything in this is zero. So what this does, the first thing it shows you is how many tasks due that you have, and it shows you as of today. So it doesn't include any tasks that you have due in the future. It only shows you any tasks that are past due or that are due today. So if I click right here, it's going to show me that there are 106 tasks that I need to work on, including my appointment for today. So if you look at this, there are 94 tasks that are past due, 11 that are due today, and then there are 8 that are due later in the future. So it does not include those. It's only including the tasks that are past due, these 94 plus 1105, and then this one additional appointment that you have. So it shows you those 106. So that's the first thing you want to make sure, that every day you come in and this task due number is zero. So if I go in and let's say if I mark this completed, let's say for this property, I've done that, and then I've transferred the gas service. So you'll notice that the number will reduce here, and the past due, and also this, let's say I'm going to mark another one as completed. And then once I go back to my dashboard, this number went down to 102. So that's the number one thing you want to make sure is that your task due are always zero. So some of the teams that we notice are doing, 10, 15 or more deals a month, every month consistently. This is the one thing that they're making sure that their task due number is here. Sorry, let me switch off my phone. And then the next thing that you want to do is the open leads. So open leads are any new leads that are created in your system, or any lead where you have the seller call you or text you, but you haven't responded back. So that will get added as an open lead. So if you see, I have total 24 assigned leads to me, but out of those, only 14 leads are open leads. So if I click on this, it's going to show me all the leads where either it's a new lead or the lead has called me or texted back and I haven't responded back, and it shows me in my entire pipeline. This is going to look a little bit different. This is my testing account. So you'll notice that it has a new status of referred to agent, which is going to be added in everybody's account in a couple of weeks. We're testing it right now, but the functionality remains the same. You click on it and then you can see, okay, we have a new lead from Michael Scott at Dunder Mifflin. And I can see our new lead created. I can just click right here and it takes care of the open lead. When I go back, the number went down and I can see, all right, if I know this lead, for example, what's going on with this, Rocky Balboa, I can just click right here. I'll remove it from my open pipeline. And then once I go back, I refresh it, that number went down to 12. So yeah, the first thing that you want to make sure is your tasks due are zero at the end of the day, basically every day. And then the second thing is your open leads are zero. So open lead would be any lead that's a new lead or any lead that has texted you or called you back, but you haven't responded back to that lead. And the third thing is your internal inbox. Internal inbox is if you have somebody from your team message you internally, it's going to pop up right here. I don't have any messages in my account, but it'll pop up something like this. For example, for this property, hey, we need to make a cash offer to George, otherwise he's going to sell to Kramer. So I can click right here. It'll take me to that specific property. So this is where basically Tony on my team messaged me for this lead, George Costanza. So I can go right there. So this will be another, if you had a new notification for this one, it would pop up right here in the new notification, and this number would go up, the count would go up for you to show you that, hey, there's a new message that that team sent you. So these again are the three most important things. As long as you're making sure that every single one of these is 0 at the end of the day, then there's going to be no lead that's going to slip through the Yelp cracks. So in our meeting every day that we have a daily huddle, that's the thing that we go over, is make sure, are there any tasks due for anybody as of today? I mean, we do our calls early in the morning, so there might be some tasks that need to be done. So we're doing our call at 8:45 in the morning. So there might be some tasks that are due for the rest of the day, but then we want to make sure that there are no tasks that were past due and are still pending. And if it is, then we go into, okay, what might be needed to mark those tasks completed. And then also this number should be 0 on our daily huddle. So there should not be any lead from previous day before 5 o'clock that's still open. So there might be some leads that come in, let's say at, we get some calls at 8 or 9 in the evening. So those are going to pop up as open leads. And then that'll be the first priority of our lead manager to make sure she's getting back to those calls as quickly as possible. And then internally, we'll send messages to each other. So let's say if I go into this lead, and let's say I'm going to go into this, and I'll leave a message like this. Hey, this is a message that in this account, Tony Starr let me, hey, Sharad, now that Tom Brady is retired, who's ready for a cash offer. And then it's going to pop up on my account, and I'll make sure that I'm addressing that message, taking care of it. And if it's an important message, then what I will do is I'll pin this message. It's going to pin that message for everybody. Anybody that comes into that lead now. So for example, if anybody that goes in, this icon is going to show up here. So when you click on it, it's going to show you all the messages that have been pinned for that specific lead. So you make sure that if there's anything that's important or significant that your team needs to know, it's going to show up right here as a pinned note. And then if somebody on my team is going through the lead and they notice something else that I need to look at, or it's important for anybody else that might be working on that lead, they'll go in and they'll pin that comment and they'll add that comment. So let's say if my lead manager is calling, then what she's going to do is she'll look at the pin notes first before she makes that call. So this way she has that information about the lead. So those are a few things that you want to make sure. So for example, if I go right here and I am gonna, so I have 12 open leads and 102 task view. So if I go right here, I reset my filter and I'm gonna add a new lead. I'm gonna say Harry Potter and Harry at REsimpli.com. And I'm gonna say this is from direct mail, probate list. I'm gonna put a random property address. Just gonna pick this, and I'm gonna leave all of this blank. If I go back, so this number went up because now it's a new lead created. So if I click on, and this number also went up because it created a new task for me for that specific lead. That's how I have set up. So if there's a new lead created, it creates a task for me. It sends me a message that, hey, there's a new lead. Check on that property detail, and I can click right here and I can go into that specific lead and I can see that there is a task due for me to new lead, check all the details. So it creates an open lead for me. And then we also have it set up where it creates an automated task. And how we do that is we go into this section right here, go into global tasks. And so global tasks are any task that will be created as soon as you move a lead from one stage to another. So in my case, what I have done is anytime there's a new lead created, what the system does is within a minute of that lead being created, it's going to assign this task to me, which is called new lead, check all the details. And you can choose who this is assigned to. So in this case, if this is something I need to work on, I'll assign it to the owner. But if I want something that my acquisition manager needs to work on, I'll assign it to the acquisition manager. So as you're moving your lead from one stage to the next, it's going to keep assigning those leads. So for example, if my property goes under contract then I want my, I have these tasks assigned to me that I need to order inspection. I need to confirm that the final water bill is paid at closing. And you can schedule these tasks based on when the closing is happening. So if I move a property to my under contract today, however, the closing is not until March 31st, for example, I can have this task be triggered a day before my scheduled closing. So if my scheduled closing is on March 30th, this task would be triggered on March 30th for me. So I'm checking it a day before, and it's not popping up on my task to you right now. So so that's something I don't have to think about. Same thing, and this I could assign to send listing to cash buyers. It's not, for example, it's on somebody on my disposition team that needs to work on, so I can assign it to my disposition manager. So when this property goes under contract, my disposition manager gets this task assigned that within a day of the property changing status, then he needs to assign listing to cash buyers. And then we have some details added right here. Make sure you include links to pictures, and you can add other things. So then it will create a new task for my disposition manager for going to complete that task. So if I go back into my active leads, I'm going to reset this. So if I look at this lead right here, I have one task of new lead, check all the details. So I'm going to move this from no contact made to contact made. I'm going to do this. I'm going to leave my pending task as pending. And if I go back right here, in my task and appointment, it added additional tasks. So I still have the task because I did not mark it completed while the property was under contract. New lead it, check all the details, but it created 2 additional tasks based on the fact that the property is now in contact made stage. So if I go back into my global task, if I look right here, so I have these tasks that are automated as soon as the property moves from no contact made to contact made. It creates this task of drive by the property, and it's due a day from the time I change the status. And I need to check MLS comps again a day from the time I change the status. And new lead, this is another task that I've created. New lead, check the lead details, and it's due 2 minutes after the status change. So if you look at this property, I just changed the status of a couple of minutes ago. So it assigned this task for due date with today at 2:16. These are the ones that are going to be due tomorrow, because these get triggered. Drive by the property needs to be done within a day, and then check MLS comps is another one that needs to be done within a day. So it created these 2 tasks that are going to be due tomorrow, but this one and this one are going to show up on my dashboard for something that I need to do today. So this number was 102, now it went up to 104. So I can again click right here, and I can see all my tasks. If I just want to see the ones that are due today, I can see all this task, like the one with Harry Potter, Darth Vader, are all due today. So I can just go ahead and mark it completed. And if I know, okay, I've already checked the lead details for this one, and I've also checked the lead details for the one with Harry Potter. So these will be marked completed. Now, if I go back into the property, it's gonna, instead of 4, it only shows me the 3 tasks that are due. And this number also went down. And then as I work on this, any of these leads that I have, if I make a call to this lead, the open badge would automatically go away. But let's say if there's nothing that I need to take action on, it's, we don't want to leave it open. So I can just click right here, remove it from my open badge, and then I can just tag my team member saying, sounds good, let's prepare the cash offer. And then this is going to show up in Tony Stark's dashboard as one additional notification that he has that he needs to address and make sure he clears out by the end of the day. He can do that if there's a new message. Let me see if I can. I don't have any notification, but if I hovered on it, it'll say mark the notification completed. Or I can just say everything I've read, I can just mark it clear new, or remove everything and make it 0. So it's basically the concept of making sure that it's inbox 0 at the end of the day, every day. So this is another update that we're going to be rolling out in a couple of weeks, but I kind of want to show you, it's going to make it more efficient for you guys to make sure you're staying on top of your leads. So let's say if you come into your leads pipeline, you see you have 14 leads in your pipeline, but not all of them need to be worked on. And then you might also have some leads that are sitting in your warm lead, dead lead, or the ones that you have referred to agent. And then like this one, for example, doesn't have an open batch, but it might have a task that I need to work on. So what you will be able to do is you'll be able to come into filter right here. And we are going to be adding this option for task filter. So I can go in and I can see, I want to look at all the leads that have a pending task. And I can search for a specific task if I want to do that. If I'm using my task at check MLS comps, and those are the ones that I want to look at, or I want to filter by all the ones that have a task type of call that need to be filtered out, I can do that. Or I can just go in and see, okay, all the leads that I have in my pipeline, I only want to see leads that have a task assigned to me with a past due or task with a due today. So I can see these are only the leads that I need to work on. For example, you can see this was sitting in my warm leads, and I did not have any open batch, but this would become part of my my task count. But what I can do is I can just click right here. Either I can go into my task and appointment and I can mark these completed, but some of these might be where you need to call. So what we have done is with this update, what we'll do is you can just click on the dialer. It's going to show you just your task for that specific lead. There might be some other tasks that need to be done, but it'll just show you your task. So then this yellow batch means this yellow clock means that it needs to be done today. And then the green one means it's due in the future. So then you don't need to address to it. And if it's red, it means that it's past due. So I can look at it this, okay, new lead, check the lead detail. All right, I've done this. There's nothing that I need to do in the lead. I can just click on next. It'll take me to the next lead, and it's going to it's going to load up information for the next lead that I have. So it took me to Wonder Woman. I can see there's no task that I need to address right here. And it'll just keep taking me through all the leads that I have, and it'll jump this stage also. So now I started out with contact made. Now I am in offer made, and I can click right here and say, all right, this one, call the lead and send a printed offer. Let's say I've done that. I can mark it completed. Then I'm done with this. And then I can just click next. It'll keep jumping onto the next stage that I have of the lead. So this way you can quickly come here and make sure that every single lead that you have, it's addressed. And to make it more efficient, you can just click on the dialer. So if you need to make a call, you can just make a call and mark your task completed. But if not, then you can just go through your leads just one by one and mark task completed. And then it'll just show you the filtered view. And you can also quickly, if you're making a call, and then you need to add a task, you can just quickly click here and then add a task, and again just go through those, and then as you mark your task completed, your filtered pipeline will keep going smaller, so then it'll only show you the ones that you have any task assigned for. And then if you check, you and your team member, they check their filtered task a couple of times a day. They're going to make sure that every single thing that they need to address, it's being taken care of. And then if somebody calls back, it's going to show up as open lead. So you can make sure you address that. And then if it's something that you guys are working on and you leave an internal message, then it's also going to show up for your other team member to make sure that they are addressing those leads. So that's how we make sure in our business to make sure that there's absolutely zero lead that's slipping through the pipeline for us. It's just by simply coming here. Everybody in our business is supposed to make sure that their task view, open leads, and internal inbox are zero every day at the end of the day. And that's what we catch up on Daily Huddle to make sure if there's any task that for some reason it's not completed, if there was a reason why it could not be completed, and same thing with open leads. And then if an internal inbox, if they have any questions on anything that internally somebody might have tagged them on. So we just go through open huddle, everybody from our companies on that call, and we just go through and make sure, hey, is there anything that you had a question about, anything that you need to connect with somebody. And it's a really quick 15-minute call schedule. We don't even go 15 minutes, as long as everybody has their numbers that they need to report on. It literally just takes like 5 to 10 minutes, just making sure everybody is going through that. And if there's something that's not addressed in the call, if we need to have a long conversation, then they'll connect outside of that daily huddle call. But as the owner of the company, I make sure that this is how I'm tracking all my data at the end of the day to make sure that nothing is getting slipping for us on a day-to-day basis. So that's kind of what our process is. I'll open it up for any Q&A if you guys have any questions. So Dana has a question on what is internal inbox. Dana, internal inbox is here. Let me log on to a different account so I can quickly show you what that looks like.
Hey, Sharad.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Dana. I got the answer to my question. I asked it before you went through it. Yes, I understand now.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I'm going to show this is my account. So this is this is my dashboard, and this is what, like, I have 10 messages that I need to respond on. So this is the one that a new lead came in. I'll call him after 3 p.m. for the email we forwarded. So if I need to reply, I can just click right here and I can say Sharad. Sounds good. And then once I do that, it'll remove that message and then it'll take me to the next one. Correct. I could be wrong, but seems like a lot of work. The owner is worried about the roof. Then if there's nothing I need to do, I'll just click that mark as completed and I'll just go through that. So this way I need to just make sure my internal inbox is 0. So this is kind of what it looks like for us in our business. And Shell Martin has a question: is the dialer feature only available on the top package? Mitch, right now, anybody that's using REsimpli, the dialer is included for everybody. But once we go live with this, the dialer is going to be pay per use. It's going to be included for everyone in the enterprise plan with the with the task and the add task option. And then we're going to be adding some other things that are going to be included for everyone in the enterprise. But anybody in the other 2 plans could just upgrade and get access to that if they wanted to. Okay. Cool. Any other questions, guys, from anybody? I'm more than happy to answer, but that's kind of what we do on a day-to-day basis. And I'll just check in, I'll pop into somebody else's account also. So for me as the owner, I can click on Tony Stark and see how many tasks he has, how many open leads, and how many messages that he hasn't responded. So this is like, when we're doing a quick call in the morning, this is another thing we can do. I can jump into somebody else's dashboard and kind of see what it looks like, if they have any tasks due, or I can just also go right here into task and then just filter based on my task and by a specific person. So I can see if, all the tasks that I want to see for Tony, that are all the tasks that he has due. So 3 are the ones that are past due, and then this one appointment. So you can also do that, but the quick way is for us to just quickly jump right here. Again, make sure this should be 0 for everyone at the end of the day. Like, there should not be any reason why before they call it a day that they have any task due or they have any open leads or anything. So if I have my marketing person, I will just create a, for example, task of pull the list from PropStream and upload in REsimpli, for example. So I'll do that and I'll call it like my marketing list, and then I'll assign it to somebody on my team. For example, Tony needs to do that, and I'll make it a task due of tomorrow. Then when Tony logs in tomorrow, he'll see that task of, hey, he needs to pull the list as additional task that he needs to do, and they'll show up in his account. And then I can go in, and if he has any question, he can reach out to me and ask me, okay, hey, which list did you want me to pull? If there's any questions on the freighter or whatnot. And sometimes what we would do is if there's something that needs to be explained, we'll just create a Loom video and put it in the task detail just to explain everything, or just type in everything in the task detail to make it as clear as possible for anybody on our team to complete their task that they have. But by checking, making sure all of this, and then also setting up the global tasks, so you're automating most of the processes that you have. As you move your lead from one stage to another, it's going to make a lot of your process automated, and then make sure also your team is getting triggered and reminded whenever their tasks are due in the business. Cool, guys. And then, yeah, if you also guys have any feedback on kind of how we can make these calls more effective. So one of the things we're planning to do is, so I have my acquisition manager. She's the one who's going out on appointments for us on seller's appointment. So what we're going to start doing is I'm going to have her come in once a month on the sales call and on our weekly call. So I think the next one I'm going to do next Tuesday is going to be the one that she is going to be on the call. And she's just going to kind of talk about some scenarios that she runs into when she's going out on appointments with the sellers, and also some of the I maybe break down a sales call that we have where we took and answered we answered a call live or we made outgoing call. So we'll pick one, we'll break that, and also do some role playing on kind of how we handle some difficult leads that come in, difficult sellers that come in, or some easy ones or whatnot. So this way you guys kind of know we're under contract to buy a house in Indiana for like 480,000. It's a pretty nice house, but it was a pretty easy deal. The seller went to our website, filled out a form. The husband and wife are going through divorce, so sometimes it's just about uncovering the motivations that you have. In some other cases, it's a little bit harder to uncover those motivations, but sometimes it's easy. The guy will just call us and say, hey, I have this property that I want to sell. I had it under contract, but the deal fell through. This is the price that I want. Will it work for you or not? So sometimes you'll run into those deals, but some cases it's going to be a little bit tricky. So I'll have her. She's an expert on that. She's been doing it for a number of years. So it'll be great to have her on the call, breaking down those calls for us. And you guys can, it'll be an open Q&A. Yeah, George, absolutely. I mean, sometimes the most important thing is just simply figuring out like what is the true motivation. Sometimes the seller might call and say, yeah, I want this much, but the goal for us is to figure out, okay, what's your reason for selling? Sometimes it might just be a tire kicker. And then it's important for us to know, okay, are you really looking to sell, or are you just trying to see what your house is actually worth so you can shop around our offer? So it's important. So we're not wasting our time on that. Again, I don't do any sales call. It's my acquisition person. She's the one who's doing sales call. So we'll make sure she'll be on the call, kind of answering any questions that you guys have. Cool.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, George, for the message. I appreciate it. Yeah. And then again, guys, we want to make these weekly calls as value added as possible. So whatever feedback you guys have, whatever topics you guys want us to talk about, the goal for us would be kind of how, we created the system. Where do we see the best practices, how you can use the system to make it as easy as possible. Again, we don't want to make it about REsimpli. We want to make it more business oriented. So even if you're using some other system, Cody or whatnot, it's totally fine. You can jump on a call. You can share this Facebook group link with anybody. They don't have to be a REsimpli user in order to join. And we want to try to make the calls as much as possible about business use case on how you can grow your wholesaling business, and not necessarily about using REsimpli. Go ahead, Mitch. If you want to unmute, you can do that.
Hey, Sharad. New user, and I'm about to go through the migration process. I just had a quick question that they couldn't answer before. In regards to like phone numbers. So the system I currently have, it has like a default phone number. So once it comes in, it can kind of change over. Basically, long story short, it's a different phone number from the campaign number. So it allows me to have business cards with the acquisition manager phone number on it, right?
Yep.
So every time that the acquisition manager is talking to somebody, it's from that same number, regardless of which campaign it came in on. From what I can tell with your system, I don't know if there's a way to do that. Is there a way possible to have it so the acquisition manager can have business cards with one phone number on it? You can reach out personal.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, you can do that. So let's say this lead came in from direct mail probate list number, and this is the number, let's say Tom Brady called in at, when the lead was created. So when I'm calling back, it's going to default to that phone number, but you can click right here, change, and you can change it to any other number. Let's say this is the phone number of your acquisition manager. This is the number on this business card. You can do this, and then you can make this default, and your acquisition person can make this default for all the calls, SMS, and RVM to all the leads. So if I do this, it's going to default to that number. So phone number change. And now what happens is like,
for his role.
when let's say this, I'm sorry.
Just for his role? Like
no, it'll be just for him, not for everybody.
Okay. Gotcha. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So what will happen is now Tom Brady could call on this number, or Tom Brady could call on this number. Any other numbers that you have, all the leads all the communication would come into this specific lead. It's not going to keep creating differently. So you can do the exact same thing. It's really up to your personal preference, how you want to use it. Just what I notice in my business, especially we do a lot of direct mail. So let's say if I'm using this phone number on my postcard, we send this out. And if my acquisition manager calls from a different number, for some reason, we noticed that the sellers tend to, default back to this number just because it's something tangible, it's in a postcard letter, it's in front of them. So they will call us back on this number. But we tell them for all practical purposes, this is sort of like a cell phone number. They can call, they can text, they can send pictures, they can do anything. And then we'll also tell the seller, hey, this is, for example, let's say this is my acquisition manager's number. Hey, this is my cell phone number. The seller doesn't have to know that it's in the system. The acquisition manager can say, hey, this is my personal number. You can call from this number. You can call this number, text this number. So they can call either of those numbers and the communication will come right within the system. But just for us personally, we noticed that for some reason, the sellers will just default back to the original number. But we have other teams that are using our platform. And then what they have done is it's kind of what you guys are doing is they have a default marketing campaign number. And then for all the communication that they're doing with the lead, then they have their acquisition person, disposition person call from a different phone number. As long as you have this set up initially on the direct mail probate list, that's the campaign that the call came in at. So it's going to be handy when you're tracking your KPIs, because the KPIs is going to be tracked based on the phone number the lead initially called in at. So you go into your marketing and then you click on your direct mail. So you can see on your probate, you have 9 total leads came in. So you can see right here, all these leads. Now, even if the lead calls from a different number, this KPI is not going to change. It's going to be attached with the original phone number that the lead called in at. So your KPIs always stay based on the marketing campaign that actually worked for you. And then whether you call from a different number or not, this is the important thing. So you can keep track of your KPIs, like how many leads you're getting, how many appointments from each campaign, what's your cost per lead, cost per deal, and ROI from that specific campaign.
So all you really got to do is, I guess you could do the same thing with your disposition person as well. So you could put a phone number at the bottom of the email for them to call. And always have a phone number. So I guess all you got to do is add the number, and then once you get to that stage, set it up as a default to call out on.
Exactly. Yeah. So what you do is you just change this. Like if you just want to call this specific lead from this number, then you can do that. Or if you want every time your acquisition person, disposition person are calling and they want to change the default number, then they can do it for all the existing leads that you have in the pipeline. So they don't have to keep changing it every time. So if I do this, it's going to change my default. So if I go into the next one, it's going to default to the same. So even if I'm calling George Costanza, so you see this lead called in on this number, but the number that I'm calling from is 828. So I can keep going through all the leads. My default outgoing number for calling and texting will always stay the same.
Okay. And if you don't assign a different number to it, and you just give them let's say you just give them a card and it's got that 5651 number on it, and it's not attached to this lead or anything, but if they call in on that number, is that going to create a separate lead, or would still the system know to attach it to this lead? Like if you haven't,
it would attach it to this lead.
Okay. So it doesn't matter what number they call in on.
Once the lead is created,
the phone number, it goes.
Exactly. So if let's say Tom Cruise, this is the phone number for Tom Cruise. So anytime Tom Cruise calls you from this number on this number or any number that you have, it will go into this specific lead. It will not create another lead. But if let's say Tom Cruise calls from a different phone number, this is let's say his mobile number, he calls from a landline number, then in the next update that we're rolling out in a couple of weeks, you're going to have an option to merge leads. And then you can merge it with a different lead that you have. Let's say, Tom Cruise is going to be merged with, let's say, Wonder Woman. So you can do that. I'll walk you through some steps, and then you can merge the leads. All the communication, files, activity will get merged into one lead. And then in future, when Tom Cruise calls from this number or any other number that you merge this with, it will all funnel into that specific lead. So this way it will not keep creating multiple leads. But those will be like exception case. Most of the time, like 95% or even higher, we notice that the seller is always calling from the same phone number. So it doesn't have that, but this will, the merge lead function will take care of that also in the next update.
Perfect. And another quick question while we're on the phone numbers. I noticed your buyers they look more like a contact phone book rather than like a campaign. So when you send out an email, like you're blasting out email to your buyers list, what phone number goes to the bottom of it? Is there a number that's attached to the buyer's list, or is it?
Yeah, so the way we build the system is when you're buying phone numbers, you either assign it to a lead or to a buyer.
Okay.
So then you can say, all right, anytime anybody calls me on this number, it's not gonna create a lead. It's gonna add it as a buyer. So when you're talking to a buyer, this is the phone number that you want to give to your buyers, is the store fee number, any other number. So if you go through, let's say if I'm gonna buy this phone number, it's gonna ask you, are you using this phone number to market to sellers or contact your buyers?
Perfect.
So when
it works the exact same, it's just
exactly
you just got it organized a little
exactly
bit.
because you don't want to use the same number that you're using on your direct mail to talk to your buyers, right? It's just gonna make it very complicated. So that's why what we've done is your numbers that you're using for marketing purposes are completely separate from the ones that you're using for your buyers. So if I go into, let's say, any of my buyers right here, and if I want to call one of my buyers, let's say if I'm going to call Ironman, it's going to only show me the phone numbers that I have assigned to the buyer. It's not even going to let me call from a number that's not attached to a buyer. So then you don't even have to worry about it. And then if anytime anybody calls on this number, it's going to create a buyer lead in the system.
Gotcha. Cool.
Okay.
Yes,
Cool.
sir.
Awesome. Yep. Cool, guys. Any other questions? I think I had one other question. Let me see. Joseph has a question. I would like to see more of how you utilize the finance aspect of the program. Absolutely, Joseph. So that's actually going to be on not the next Tuesday call, but the one after. The next Tuesday call would be the call about sales, like how to talk to motivated sellers, going on appointments and whatnot. So how you are converting more of your leads into deals. And then the one after that would be the finance aspect of it. So we made some cool updates with the finance part of the system also. So I'm excited to kind of share what we've been working on. How do we stop certain tasks from being generated? So Brett, yeah, all you have to do is, let's say, when you set up your account, there are some tasks that are preset. So if you log in, you go into this check mark, go into global task. So these are the tasks that are getting triggered. So let's say if you do not want this task to be triggered every time your property goes under contract or property goes in contract, you can just click delete. It's not going to do that anymore. Or same thing with, if you guys don't have this as part of your pipeline of drive by the property, you can delete this. Again, some of these are just based on kind of, what some of the investors would find value in. But if you're not like scheduling with contractor walkthrough, again, you can just click delete. It will not create those tasks anymore for you. And if you want to add something that's more relevant to your business, you can just click right here and you can say, all right, every time a property goes into appointment set, you can just name it a task on whatever you want it to be. And then it'll just do that. Like, for example, anytime a property goes into contract, for example, we do not buy anything that's in a flood zone. So we've added this, check if the property is in flood zone. So it'll get triggered. We want to make sure, we're not buying anything in flood zone. We email to our insurance company to get quotes just to make sure that it's not something outrageous, something that an insurance company uncovers that we're not sure about. So yeah, you can go and everything managed. So go into this section right here, go to global task, and then delete it from there. And if you still have any follow-up question, just let me know, or you can email us at support@REsimpli, and then we'll get that taken care of. Cool. All right. Any other questions, guys? Anything else that I can help with? And please keep giving any feedback or thoughts on like what topics you would like to see, any other thoughts or feedbacks that you have on any suggestions or topics that you would like us to cover. So the next week is going to be a sales call, and the week after is going to be like how to use the system to track your finances, your KPIs, your revenues, and all that good stuff. Cool. Awesome, guys. This was a great call. Thank you for making it very interactive. Super appreciate. So once the call is done processing, we'll put it on our Facebook group. We'll also email it to everyone. And again, if you have any questions, just let us know by email, call, text, whatever is convenient to you. We're here to help you in any way we can. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Take care. Have a great rest of the week. Thanks. Bye.